probably get 40 minutes in, Alice, and be out of here at 5:30. I apologize, but we will be having a show tomorrow as well.
That'll be the open one to everybody. We'll do the public one tomorrow. Splash is in the chat having Bissell Brothers grapefruit substance.
Oh, very interesting. I like those kind of fruity porch beers. We had my daughter's got a pre-graduation dance thing tonight and red carpet thing. So Alice was at that, and then we've got a concert we've got to eat to. And a few with folks, but I did want to run something by you, Alice. The big story is Senator Alex Padilla creating the template for what the Democrats are going to be about for the foreseeable future, in lieu of ideas. But let me get to it. So I was at the Market Basket today.
Yes.
And I got all my stuff, a good haul today. Got all my stuff in the Market Basket. And as I'm being checked out, there's a bagger and a cashier, veterans. They've been there for a long time. As I'm being cashed out, the supervisor from the back walks past us holding a fly swatter and some charcoal lighting fluid, saying, "Oh, it looks like somebody's fly swatting in barbecue are going to have to wait because they, for some reason, had left them behind or whatever, and they were at the customer service." So she's putting them back in the shelves. And as she's walking by, I say, "Oh, are you putting that back, that lighter fluid?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'll take it right here because I've been meaning to get it to be an accelerant for the burn barrel." And so she says, "Oh, okay, okay." And by the way, I expected a few plaudits for this, for making life easier for her and for being it's very main character and energy what I did there. You know, I did something to make things more efficient. I thought it was kind of a cool move. It worked out. I went beyond the third wall of procedure at Market Basket at the grocery store, and I was thinking, as I call it, Allison.
It's like you work there already.
I was thinking, I invented this term. I was thinking out of the box for them. Mm-hmm. But she really didn't seem all that thrilled to hand it to me. But she said, "Okay," and she handed me the lighter fluid. And the cashier, as the young woman walks away, the cashier was in her 60s. The person in the blue apron was in her early 20s. So the person in the apron goes to put away just a fly swatter. The cashier said, "Uh-oh, now you took away an excuse for her to walk around the store for even longer." Right? And the bagger says, "That's true." And I said, and it occurred to me that, that would make, if I was a slow supervisor, I would definitely find a reason to be walking around. As a matter of fact, when I was a concierge, we would collect menus from around the city. And back then, you wanted a hard copy menu so that it looked good, and and I'd be gone all day. I was not coming back when I was collecting menu. But anyway, and so I said to the cashier, "Yeah, I guess that's kind of the new smoke break, is just doing something, burning some time. I'm going to return these things. See it later. Takes the wrong way around. Talks to whomever, whatever." What is the built-in slacker thing to do now at work? Because it really was. I don't know. You smoked when you were at work, right?
When I worked at Macy's, yeah.
Right.
All the girls there smoked. We went out this weird side door of the mall and hung around out in a side area and smoked.
Like Burlington Mall skanks. Yeah. Oh, and so,
as one does.
Yes. And for me, I used to smoke too. And so you'd be at the loading dock.
I smoked, either Marlboro Lights or, do you remember for a while they had those black and pink Camel cigarettes? It was black with a pink,
I think so,
stripe on it, and they were in a special box. Those are cool.
Yeah, you succumbed to marketing, absolutely. So, what is the thing now you do? Because do you go out if you're a 24-year-old and go and vape? And is somebody going to let you leave your post to go and vape?
No way.
I would be so fundamentally against that. I'd be like, no, if you're going to go need to feed the addiction, then go smoke, you pussy. At least that way.
At least have the decency, if you're going to slack off, to kill yourself slightly in the process.
Yeah. I mean, even people who drink on the job, and I know a couple of guys at the grocery store.
People who drink on the job.
I know a couple of guys at the grocery. I know one lady who works in Newburyport who worked at a gas station there who was legless in the morning. So legless that she was having trouble operating the machinery I looked at the guy behind me and I said, "This isn't gonna. We're not gonna be transacted by this lady," and so I just left. But I know a couple of people who work for a couple of grocery stores. I don't know them, but I've seen them drinking and a little drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still doing the job. I mean, they're still there. You see all these nips. So there are people who are drinking like 24/7, but operating.
Yeah.
But like, how does somebody slap?
I think people do weed now. I mean, a lot of people do weed.
Yeah,
but you don't
not the
leave.
loading dock.
Yeah, you
just
don't
go and
leave
bake.
to go do it, or you go and baked. You have gummies like.
Yeah, but you do that beforehand, and then like stocking shelves becomes awesome, you know. But it is funny. I just like mid shift, the smokers got that one privilege until, of course. When I first worked at the Parker House, we could all smoke up in the cafeteria, and there was a big smoke thing until they cast us outside. And then that was a little payoff that, okay, yeah, you can smoke and leave us, the rest of us here to work the front desk, but it's 10 below out there.
It is wild when you think about it now, how like everyone used to smoke inside. Because if somebody, like, it's so taboo now. If somebody lit up a cigarette like in the middle of a mall, I swear there would be like a freaking police response.
Oh my goodness, you kidding me?
If you were but it used to be like you'd be like at the McDonald's inside and there would like be an ashtray and or wherever you were, you know, or at Friendly's had a smoking section, as though a smoking section of a restaurant helps keep there being
that was
smoke
just the stupidest masking
from the rest of the restaurant. It's like completely insane. And you can still tell sometimes when you go into like old office park buildings, like they still smell like cigarettes like 50 years later. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's
And
one of those,
like,
well, once you stop smoking, then you're like, wow, you smell like smoke and a desperate attempt to remove the smell of smoke with soap.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I was at Macy's, everyone would like spray themselves with perfume when they came back in from smoking.
Once you stop
so I'm sure
all it smells like is smoke and then perfume.
Like absolutely insane. But it's crazy because it was like a completely normal cultural thing. And it's interesting how much like you're just used to whatever the culture does as like being normal.
Yeah.
And then, and then it becomes taboo, and then like nobody does it.
Well, yeah, and you guys listening, you remember like our parents, if they smoked in the car with the windows closed. There was never any thought about that. My job in my mother's car, in my brother's job, was to inhale the smoke in the back seat. She smoked with the windows closed. And then our job was to run in the Winchester, it was the dairy barn, and buy more cigarettes for her.
Mark in the chat says people used to smoke in movie theaters. And Splash says watching somebody light up a cigarette indoors now is paramount to watching somebody beat the crap out of their kid in public. Like, it's so like, if you lit a cigarette in a restaurant now, people would like...
The police would come.
A visceral, crazy reaction. It like weirdly became the least acceptable thing around. Like just fashion wise, it became totally unacceptable. And it's interesting because it's so random the way this stuff I mean, like I understand smoking's bad for you, but it's so random the way things like become fine or taboo over time.
I assume that just the universality, that when young people started to be by default kind of jacked, which is like the late 90s, you know, in the early, when I was a 19-year-old, like the only people who got jacked were the jocks. They weren't like, but then they started minting 22-year-olds who all were in great shape, and maybe that was the thing that like took people off of smoking, and they're like, no, I look good, and.
Well, yeah, but I think in a way, too, we just have more information now. Like, people know so much more about nutrition now. People know so much more about health.
Did we not know smoking was bad for us?
I don't know. But people saying, you know, they were in the back seat with no seat belts and, you know, and with their parents, you know, boxing them in with smoke and all this stuff.
The seatbelt in the car used to be like your appendix. It was like a decorative thing that was there. You were not going to use it. You were weirdo. What are you, like some kind of born-again Christian or something?
But it's fascinating because our society, in a weird sort of way, has become so neurotic. And I think that's what, I don't smoke anymore, but I think that's what I kind of find appealing about the aesthetics of smoking and the culture of smoking, is that it's sort of a throwback to a time when people didn't give a bleep a little bit more than they do now. Now our whole society is so neurotic about stuff. So like over the top, like hyper educated on weird topics. And so like, I mean, and even, and this isn't necessarily a political issue even, although I think on average, I think people on the left tend to be more neurotic, but I think that even on the right, you'll find people who are neurotic, especially among the health crowd, about like, I mean, like, I don't think seed oils are great for you or whatever. Like, I think probably we have like too many vaccines on the schedule, but mostly I think it doesn't really matter that much. Just to, like do stuff and live your life and don't like stress. Like a mom once told me that like her greatest regret was vaccinating her kids when they were younger. And I was like, but they're fine. Like, I don't. She's like, well, we never know what cancers they'll get now. And I'm like, well, but like, I don't know. So maybe they'll get cancer someday, but like, you're going to wait around for that. And like, you spend time thinking about that. It just seems crazy. And lately I've been seeing a lot on Twitter and Facebook about this Facebook group that's about child car seats. It's a whole Facebook group for moms to be neurotic in. And I like run in some mom circles. But you know how like, there's rules about car seats, and you and I've talked about this. It's been getting more and more intense as our kids have gotten older and like we've had more kids and whatever. You know, 10, 15 years ago, it was not like this. They used to say you could turn your kid's seat around at 12 months. Like, I mean, now they want you to wait for 2. Now, I mean, we keep them backwards as long as possible, but like Peter Rabbit was so tall, he was going to have his knees crushed up to his chest if his seat was backwards facing any longer. It was
our other daughter
it was getting ridiculous.
Was getting nauseous.
We had kids throwing up because they were backwards all the time. Like I tried, but I did my best. Now we have one kid who refuses to ever put on a seatbelt unless we fight him about it every single time we get in the car. But whatever, like we do our best, but we're not like trying to be OCD about it. But this car seat group, and I've seen a bunch of people post various stories from it over the last few months. I've like seen it trending more and more. But these people, when I tell you neurotic, they have like preteens in booster seats and stuff. And like it's like a seatbelt car seat advice group. So it'll be like, oh, like, do you think it's safe to put my kid forward facing yet? Or like questions like that, you know, like, is this car seat safe? Blah, blah, blah. How do I install this?
Isn't that classic? What's it called? The thing where you have to flick the lights on and off 18 times.
OCD.
Yeah. Isn't that classic OCD?
Listen to this. This is one from this group that I saw today that made me think of this. Is there any vehicle currently on the market that has a third row that is designed for children to the extent that a child would not need to be in a booster of some sort? I currently do not have the vehicle information, but I have asked for it and I can update it if it's provided. The child's stats: 10 years old, 102 pounds, fluctuating average, 56 inches tall, torso 19 inches. She will be traveling from California to North Carolina tomorrow via a plane with her father. I've been informed that the family member they are visiting has a vehicle with a third row designed for children.
50 inches tall is like 5'5".
She's 5'8". Or 4'8". Sorry.
No, I think...
No, 60 inches is
you
5
say
feet.
55 inches?
I said 56 inches. So it's 4'8".
But 12 times 5 is 60. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so 4'8". Okay.
4'8", 100-pound, 10-year-old.
Got it.
She is in a booster Britax High Point in my vehicle, 2008 Chevy Colorado 4-door. A booster in her father's 2024 or 2025 Toyota Sienna minivan in the second row passenger side captain's seat, and is not using a booster in her father's 4-door Nissan Frontier unknown year. I've expressed that she still needs a booster in North Carolina as she does not 5-step universally. I have a .org source, buckleupnc.org, that supports properly fitting seatbelt over 8 or 80 pounds, and he has cited the ncieg.gov statute and has stated he will not be using a booster for her. Thank you for any info you can provide. I just want our daughter to be safe.
Oh my God! Created a domestic dispute. That's fantastic.
No, but this group is full of posts like this. Like,
Yeah.
Is it okay for my 15-year-old who is 6 feet tall to not be in a seat? It's crazy stuff.
Well, it's
And
also
it's
also a mad nod to credentialism.
But in this case, she's even going. These people go way beyond the official sources, what they tell you.
Well,
it's like the people who are saying
does she
you can
want?
reopen the schools and not mask, who are still in
Yes,
N95
because she wants
masks.
to hear that it's not adequate. She wants to be told that there needs to be more layers of safety. She doesn't want to hear that, oh no, they're fine. She
Right.
wants her 10-year-old to have a booster,
Yeah, I mean,
to be a little bit safe.
But it's like we as a society have it too good now. Things are we don't have enough stuff to worry about, but our brains are just wired to look for danger and stuff.
Yeah, but
and
Alice,
so we
I think that
can't,
this is more pernicious than that. I think this is, what do you think her daughter knows about booster seats?
a lot.
Yes. And her daughter knows what happens if she's not
her daughter's
properly...
probably going to be scared to get in a
Of
car
course she's
with
going to be
people.
scared. Exactly, she's going to be scared. We talk about that, Alice, that we live in a town here with one little store, and our kids are the exception. The younger ones to be allowed to go to the store.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of their friends are not allowed to. The kids who live next to the store.
Right.
And
And actually, our daughter at one point walked there with a friend who lives the same distance as us, and her parents dropped her off on the street in front of our house so she could walk to the store with my daughter, and she almost didn't go. She was too terrified. She tried to scramble back into the car with her parents because they dropped her off at our house so that she could walk. Literally, it's less than a half a mile down the street with crosswalks and sidewalks and lights and everything. It's not tough to navigate.
right. Well, and in that case, they want to go. The kids want to go. They're excited about going. They're excited about these adventures.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to the other stuff, okay?
Mostly because we're negligent, but
Yeah.
we think it's working out well.
Yeah, we're also bad parents, so that's different. But there are good ones out there.
Well, but I think there is such a thing as sort of benign neglect. I think that the level of neurotic that these people are in this car seat group, or about other things, I think it's not healthy for kids too. So it's possible we go too far in the other direction, but it's definitely creating generations of kids who are scared of everything and who don't go out and have adventures, don't do things, don't learn to drive, don't and I don't know what to do about that sort of. It's not great for our society, I don't think.
So Senator Alex Padilla, this is Nancy, Kristi Noem is out there giving us a talk in California at the Customs and Border Patrol ICE place, whatever it is. And Senator Alex Padilla interrupts her. He's in plain clothes, no identifying stuff as a senator. Interrupts her and gets hauled.
We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
A half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about
security. She's got real security. He's going towards the stage.
Probably because people want to really kill her.
Yeah, and he's 6'3". She's petite, 5'6" or something. And they're going after. He's approaching her, going after her. They trained security rustles him out of the room. He bitches and moans the whole time. They get him on the ground. They cuff him. They arrest him. If it were me, I think he should have been tased and he should have been really neutralized because who knew what the guy was going to do? But this is what the Democrats are doing now. This is the new thing. Is now totally performative. He gets out of jail or wherever he was and talks to people. This is now the template.
Senator Alex Padilla. You guys have some questions. I'm going to read a brief statement. I will not be taking questions, but allow me to read my statement. I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot,
By the way, a different briefing.
I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues, have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize.
At one point, it was the point where he decided to blurt in over her statement.
Is it traditionally how questions are answered?
No, he's also not a credentialed member of the press. It wasn't for him. He had no business being there. He just disrupted it. He started shouting over her, as we heard, and they took him in. And so this
Somebody asked, did he say, hands up, don't shoot?
But essentially, that's what's going to get. Obviously, he started the day intending to get arrested. He found a way to do it. The left has decided that this is what they're going to do, that they've got no other recourse now, that they need to be performative. They need to act out the fact that Trump is an ascendant Hitler who is taking out his political rivals. There's Stephen Miller actually tweeted, and this shows you what they're trying to do. Stephen Miller tweeted this great article that is out there saying, this is from Anna Chabria, a columnist for, I'm not sure what it is, this Los Angeles Times. First, it shows him being arrested, Padilla. First, they came for the immigrants. Then they took down our Latino senator. And so this is what they've got going here. She later did meet with Padilla and discuss all this stuff. But what's happening now is, so usually you do this thing and CNN launders it for you as legit. The shock troops have arrested a senator who had every right to be there. But on CNN, there's a couple of things that I think are happening here. One, Donald Trump has sued everybody who has lied about him in the media. And two, Jake Tapper has, unfortunately for them, put a huge focus on these news groups, especially ones like CNN that still portend to be doing news. And so their attempts to launder this today as a legit human rights or authoritarian crackdown aren't quite working. Here's a little bit of the CNN with their legal guy.
This is a federal building. You can't just, wander in there necessarily. What reporting do you have, and how should we, in your view, be analyzing how we're seeing these agents respond?
Well, it's easy to think about this as one incident, but actually from a law enforcement perspective, we're really looking at three separate incidents that happened within a short period of time. First, you have the DHS secretary who is addressing the press. This was not a Q&A period, and she's interrupted. She's interrupted by someone who is speaking very loudly, and so her security detail confronts what we obviously now know to be the senator, and at that point, he is now going to be escorted out. You can't interrupt something like that that's already in progress without having those consequences. But the second incident, in my view, happens the moment as officers are trying to lead him out, he then turns and walks back towards kind of into those agents. At that point, from a security detail perspective, we're taking this person out against their will. We've asked the person, and again, this is all happening very quickly, but the moment he then turns into them, they realize this is not someone who is going to comply.
And here's the immediate wrap-up on CNN of what happened here is also very good. Here's the immediate wrap-up.
Being treated quite that way.
We just received a statement from the office of Senator Padilla, and they say that he's currently in Los Angeles exercising his duty to perform congressional oversight of the federal government's operations in Los Angeles, across California. It goes on to say that he tried to ask the secretary a question and was forcibly removed by federal agents, forced to the ground and handcuffed. He is not currently detained, and we are working to get additional information. David, over and over, we've heard from voters in different parts of the country talking about how they want to see Democrats confront the administration on some of these issues like immigration. I mean, it gets handsy, but Padilla was trying to make a statement there.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, she was holding a press conference and doing a press statement. He's not a member of the press. It wasn't like a hearing where it was an open forum for senators to ask a question. He clearly showed up to a public event to create a moment and do what you're saying, sort of show his constituents, not just Democrats, but that he's fighting from his perspective. Again, I think the question is, was this the appropriate response of how it got dealt with in that moment and how that plays? To your point, though, I mean, what we're seeing politically is a very divided country over the support and opposition. It's almost evenly divided in a Washington Post poll today over the president's actions and policies here, both over the president putting in the Guard and the Marines there, right? But also we see an evenly divided country over support and opposition to the protests to ICE's action.
You might also, in a situation like this, say, what kind of moment was the senator looking for? But I also would note, and I'm curious just if you can speak to kind of the norms of things. Normally, you have a situation where there's more interaction, even between members of Congress who maybe don't see eye to eye with the White House. They are a little able, at least, to have some kind of interactions. There really are no avenues, I think, for members of Congress to get the ear of someone at the White House if they're not seen as very in line with President Trump.
I mean, I think it depends on the issue and the personnel, right, that find access points.
She's trying, but it's not.
This is a federal building. You can't just.
Yeah, Trish says evenly divided, question mark in the chat. I mean, there's some ways you can phrase questions where you can get like a 50-50-ish result. I didn't see exactly those questions, how they were phrased. But yeah, I mean, Trump's immigration policy, which is that people who are here illegally should leave, is an incredibly popular immigration policy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Here's Hakeem Jeffries.
He was at that press conference doing his job, asking questions.
Not his job, unless he's a reporter.
About what is taking place in California, the state that he represents, and on behalf of the American people. And he was recklessly and aggressively manhandled. That was unacceptable. It was unconscionable.
Funny, okay, so he goes in there, 6'3", 280, goes charging for the woman, shouting at her. He's dealt with appropriately, and now it just starts with him being assaulted. He's on the ground in cuffs.
Well, yeah, but once again, like with car seats and everything else, we just have things too good as a society now. Like anything that you don't get exactly what you want or something happens that's more than you anticipate, anything's like, oh my goodness, look, I've been manhandled. Owen. Like everything's this like, oh my God, look what's happening. Like it's because you've never had anything actually bad happen to you in your life.
That's a great point. They're all,
it's because
they're all Owen now.
You're like seeking out things to be upset about and cause a problem with, and all of these things. This is all stuff. Deporting illegal immigrants was something that was non-controversial like 20 years ago.
Well, even like it happened during the Biden administration. It happened.
And the Obama administration and the Clinton administration and every other administration. And people who came here illegally had to leave.
Right. And a lot of them had heartbreaking stories to tell. They were our neighbors and our grocers and our friends, and they picked our guacamole for us, Alice.
They picked our guacamole. I want to see how you think guacamole grows.
Produce aisle.
So
a Mexican person brings them to the produce aisle, Alice. I don't know how guacamole grows, actually. Oh, and trees, right? Avocados and trees?
Avocados, yes.
Yeah, no, I know it's avocados, dickhead. I've been enjoying avocados for a long, long time.
The guacamole plant.
It's your daughter. But we got to talk about that. First, I want to hit one more thing. This is Nancy Mace. And I know that this is tired, this question, but she asked this question to Tim Walz. Oh, sorry.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question here.
Well,
What
Okay.
do you want me to say?
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women. You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women. You don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a misogynist. You're a sexist. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
So, yeah. And it's not the point that it's it's been 4 years since Matt Walsh has been asking the question. Can somebody
And they haven't come up
workshop
with
an answer? It's amazing that this stumps them.
It does. It still stumps them. They have no good answers on it, and they're still not sure what to do here. They're like, are we fighting back? Are we protesting? Are we what are we doing as a party? And they did just get rid of David Hogg. So they said they would redo the party elections, and because they suck at life and they were trying to make it more fair.
Their best ideas aren't any better than his. His are the future belongs to the young, and you need to listen to us because we're the young, and so we're built in factory settings noble because we're young, man. Yeah, which is gay as all hell, but it's something. Every generation, every 19-year-old thinks that they're the enlightened generation. But the thing where I'm going to go get arrested is such bitchy thing. It's an upgrade over pretending you were arrested, I guess, but still.
But yeah, I mean, so they pretend they get arrested. They hunger strike for 6 hours. They do other things. But yeah, now we're getting rid of David Hogg because this chick sued the DNC because they couldn't figure out their own gender equality rules well enough. They had 2 more spots left, and one of them needed to be a man. So they should have had 2 separate elections, one for the man spot and one for the other spot. But instead they had one election and ended up screwing a woman out of the seat.
The party corruption regime raises its head again.
They couldn't figure it out. So now
welcome to Bernie Sandersville.
They said they'd redo the election, and David Hogg said he's become a distraction. He's not going to run again. This is right after the audio leaked, obviously, of the guy yelling at him and saying that he's ruined his ability to lead the party. Now that he has destroyed the DNC, he's going to prance off and run the political group that he was working for that was going to primary all the Democrats anyway. So he's going to continue trying to destroy the party from the outside, thankfully for Republicans. But, I mean, that must be a positive step for the DNC that they're getting rid of him. Of course, they'll probably put somebody more psychotic in that position next. So,
well, Alice, this thing with this senator it's not going to be a one-off. This getting arrested thing. This is what they're going to do this summer.
Oh, it's like the lady who assaulted the people at the ICE detention place in New Jersey or wherever that was too, and got arrested. They're going to continue to act out like this and be crazy so that they can bring consequences on themselves, so that they can performatively talk about everything that's terrible that's happened to them and how this is the real fascism, as though they know anything about what fascism is or gulags are or any of the rest of it, right? But they're so just lost and casting about because they don't know what to do. I mean, you have to assume they'll try and get it done before the midterm. They'll figure it out, but they don't appear to be headed in that direction.
Well, I think they're trying to fundraise and get momentum here, just trying to catch fire by doing this outlandish stuff.
They're doing their big stuff for the thing on Saturday, the Trump's gigantic military birthday parade that he's throwing for himself. Our dear leader is throwing his...
We should probably go to one of these.
So there's going to be a protest for that, and then I was going to say one more thing, but now it's gone from my head. So
I wanted to mention, but we don't have time. But I wanted to mention the Fauntleroy Academy event we went to last night, which is why we're doing a show Friday night. So, but let's remember to talk about it tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
I have things to say about Fauntleroy Academy, Alice.
It's great.
I have things to say. There are some things that are great, some things not so great. But let's go to the chat here before we have to go to their big concert. Where is it? What is this? What is this? Who is this behind there?
He wants us to go to the concert.
Okay.
Soon. Stop tapping.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
First of all,
long time no talk.
I'm listening to the All You Can Mail In podcast.
Which one is that?
And, that phlegmy voice of Tom, and then talking about biscuits and gravy just wants to make you just never, ever want a biscuit and gravy again.
Oh, please.
But number 2, the fake girlfriend Tom was talking about, who didn't exist, who was talking about orange, and you can't put them in smoothies or shakes. I'm going to guess the people at Orange Julius beg to differ.
Oh, yeah. No. She exists. I assure you that. I was in big trouble for trying that. She had like a psychotic episode. For various reasons, she would have a psychotic episode. I did something with spaghetti, which was wrong as well. That was an interesting time. Actually, I talked about her and her friend today on the Shattuck show, as a matter of fact. Not by name, though. I like today's show. Here we go. Tom from Thomaston, Alice. This is a Connecticut listener.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, Tom. It's Tom from Thomaston calling.
Hey, Tom.
As soon as I can figure out how to get on your new podcast, I will do it. I'm an old fart. But
well, Tom, if you could leave this message, then you can get on the podcast.
You can.
Absolutely.
I promise.
There are links here.
We should put them on the site.
Yeah, we'll put the links on the site.
I just I hope this doesn't go out over the air or anything.
This goes out over the air, Tom. I'm sorry about that. It's too late. Should I stop?
I think it's okay.
It's not over the air.
This is meant just for you and Alice. I really enjoyed you guys.
Okay, we'll take it
listen to the rest of your episode later.
Yeah,
but we should do more to show people where the show is.
Yes. Oh, yes. If you Google, by the way, Apple Podcasts, Tom Shattuck's Burn Barrel will come up, and we live there on Apple and iTunes and all these other places. And you can leave a message like this. Chat is essentially your phone call at WTIC. But we'll listen to this one offline. We'll give you a summary, everybody, essentially.
Oh my gosh, who called you it was Ruth on Facebook called you the lion-hearted king of talk radio.
Here we go. As Trump wrote to me, Alice, very honest.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Trish says Tom from Thomaston sounds different than he does on the radio.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but it's just a better quality on the chat.
Only the best at the chat. Thank you so much, everybody. Leave chat messages. We will talk to you soon. We will have the live stream for everybody tomorrow. We'll put the links to the new podcast more places. I know it doesn't have its own website yet or anything, but we will help you all get on the podcast.
C'est la vie.